So, just checking if am in fact live on YouTube since I haven't done that before. But yeah, nice. Great. So, as it says today, I'm gonna do some shepherd's pie nachos. It's a great time of year for shepherd's pie, and haven't made it yet this year. So, I'm excited for that. I also haven't put it on nachos before, so it's going to be interesting to see how that works out. Great. I have my potatoes here. I'm heating up the water. And a lot of times when I make any sort of mashed potato or something like that, I will normally bake them because I actually really I think cooking them in water will sometimes reduce the flavors, and baking them will concentrate them. But I also wanted to do as much on stream as possible for these recipes. I don't like doing too much prep, and I also don't want to stream for 3 hours, so that's why I decided to boil them today. And it's up to you if you want to peel them. And peeling potatoes always reminds me of a few things. One is my dog, because for some reason she, the peeler makes her come nearby. She always wants to see what I'm doing. So I started giving her little peels from whatever I'm peeling. And now I almost use it to call her. So I'm chopping these up a little more than I normally would because, again, I don't want this to take forever. Hi, Catherine. Hi, Agris. If you guys have any questions while I'm doing this, just ask me. And while these are cooking, then I'm going to make the sort of shepherd's pie mixture and get it ready for topping the chips with. And I think with these, I'm doing everything a little differently than I normally would, specifically to make sure that it's good to go on chips. If I just made a normal shepherd's pie, it might be a little too liquidy. And would either make the chips soggy maybe, or also might have a tendency to just fall off the chips, not really cling to them. Hey Rich, good to see you with all your emojis. The other thing I always think about when I'm peeling potatoes is my friend Kim. She was having a housewarming party and she wanted to make latkes, and she peeled 50 potatoes and tried to put them all down the disposal, all the peels. And what ended up happening was her whole pipes needed to be replaced at her housewarming party. Just gonna add a bunch of salt to this. I'm gonna move that over to the burner over here. Thank you, Rich, for the compliments of my shirt, which you actually designed. I actually haven't really mentioned these shirts online at all because at first I was waiting. It's like I made the shop, I wanted to make sure everything was working. Then I ordered one and it ended up taking like 2 months to get here because I think they were a little overwhelmed with the pandemic. So I was kind of waiting to announce these shirts. But people have bought them, they found them anyways. So when I make shepherd's pie, I grew up eating a certain type of shepherd's pie that was like a very Irish New England style where it's meat on the bottom and then a layer of corn and then potatoes on top. And loved it. That would be like a great comforting meal for our family all the time. But when I moved to Bermuda, I actually started trying the British version of shepherd's pie that has more of like a gravy on the bottom with some meat and corn and like carrots, more like a stew on the bottom with potatoes on top. And I absolutely fell in love with that version. So that's more of the direction I'm going with this. I realized about 10 minutes before I started streaming that I didn't have any onions. So I did have some scallions, so I'm going to use some of these. I also am using an onion broth for this, so you know, it's not as big of a deal that we don't have the onions, but I just wanted to add a few of those scallion whites to add that like onion punch, I guess. But yeah, I'm just going to use more of the white part. Always a good question, Rich. And instead of ground beef for this, I'm using Impossible. Far from a vegetarian, but I've been using a lot more alternative meats, especially when it comes to ground beef. I'll use Impossible almost every time. Just trying to reduce my meat intake slightly. Only keep food in my beard sometimes. Only after I eat, so I can save it for later. I said I'm far from vegetarian, Rich. I also find Impossible meat way easier to cook with. If I was using ground beef for this, I probably would put it in the pan first, take it out, keep that fat going in the pan, and that helps the ground beef actually brown as well. But with Impossible, it browns up really nicely no matter what, and there's not as much fat to get rid of after. That's good, Rich. Impossible will help. Tofu. I did a really nice tofu taco bowls last night that came out really good. That sound you hear is a can opener. Isn't that weird, Rich? So much. I just have a garlic clove I'm going to add. I realize I might have to go sign for a package at some point during this stream. My new phone's coming. Maybe this will turn into an unboxing video. I don't think I use it for everything. I mostly use that or this one. Thank you, Catherine. For knives, a lot of people ask me about buying knives, and I always say, don't get like a kit or a pack of 5 knives. Save up and just like buy one nice knife, and then a few years later buy the next one, and use like some not as nice ones in between. So I still have regular knives like this one, and I do use them sometimes, but I slowly have bought in the 2 nicer ones. I just have an onion broth here. And then a can of crushed tomatoes. I'm just gonna add like half of that for now. Just make sure the meat's all broken up. And I'm going to add a little bit of Worcestershire to this. As well as parsley and thyme. And it just depends on what you have, on what you want, if you're going to do fresh or not. I have some... I buy onion broth, Catherine. I actually do like a bouillon. I actually have it right here. So yeah, normally I guess you would do beef stock for this, but I've been, like I mentioned earlier, I've been doing a little bit less of eating meat. So this is my favorite vegetarian broth that I've found so far. And I was wrong, it's a garlic broth, not an onion one. Rich, I'm on YouTube too. That's why you didn't see the chat. Maybe I should do one of those things that some streamers do where like the both chats are on the screen. You generally want to do flat leaf parsley, but for some reason, since I moved to Columbus, there's never flat leaf parsley in stock. So I'm not sure, but I always encourage you, just like I put the scallions in here, to use like what you can use and what you have. Don't be ashamed by using curly leaf parsley. This is looking good. I'm gonna grab the dried thyme. Imagine the shame. I guess after I said ashamed, I was like, that might be a strange choice of words. Just gonna check on my potatoes over here. Almost there. Yes, Catherine, it smells very nice. We're getting there here. And what's great is I'm going to use some of this on nachos, and then later on have it in more traditional shepherd's pie for dinner. Maybe tomorrow, though. It not only does it just smell really nice and comforting, but it's a very fall sort of aroma. Shepherd's pie weather, yes. Welcome, wiener dog. Why do we call it sweater weather? It should be shepherd's pie weather. Hoodie and horror weather. I guess the hit song does help, actually. So I'm not always a huge proponent of doing like a cornstarch slurry to thicken things. And this is pretty thick already. And if we were making it into a traditional shepherd's pie, the potatoes on top as it baked would help thicken it up a little bit. But because I want this to be on the nachos as more of a sauce, I do want to make sure it's thick enough. So I just have cornstarch in here. I'm adding a little water to it. Just starting with about half of this, because I don't want it to be too tight. You just want to taste this for seasoning before I take it off the heat. Yeah, it's perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for. Yeah, secret not meat. Just gonna shut this off and clean up the area a little bit. This burner stays hot for like 3 hours. I can't put it away after I do this. Just testing the potatoes. They're almost done. What are you asking about pepper, Rich? Did I put pepper in it? No, I should though. Did you put? Yeah, you know what? A lot of people will always just be like salt and pepper, salt and pepper. I'm not really someone who thinks pepper needs to go everywhere, but salt does. So I'm not as usually just like adding pepper every time. However, this does need some pepper. I'll put it in a few. You couldn't see the pepper, but you could hear it. In order to request a recipe. You know, I was thinking it would be fun to do stuff like that. Or have like a poll. Rich, you don't like mashed potatoes? Or you just don't like sour cream? It's sour cream, not mayo. And sour cream and butter in here. I was going to explain the butter until you started complaining about mayo and mashed potatoes. I'm not sure where you've seen that before. Rich, you told me these are your favorite chips, right? Don't worry, just dropping things everywhere. So this is the most important part of nacho making. Spreading the chips out and getting rid of a lot of the broken pieces. Late July is easily, like, I would call it the top 5 chip brands that I've tried. They do have like a more homemade flavor than some other ones. And they're also more available, so that's important. All right, now that those are somewhat evenly spread out. When I build the chips, it's important to start with some cheese. Yeah, the broken chips would be great in like a tortilla soup, or I actually put them on salad a lot. You just take like some lettuce and salsa and chips and call it a salad. It's pretty good. So you want to do some cheese first, because if you just put the sauce onto these, the chips will get pretty soggy first. Alex, all nachos are made from plants. Turn the broiler on low. I always broil nachos, unless I put them in the microwave, which you probably have seen on my Instagram. So I'm going to use a piping bag to put the potatoes on the nachos. You could use like a Ziploc bag for this and cut the edge off. And the reason I'm doing this is to evenly cover the chips. I wanted to do this step before I kept like building the chips, because I don't want them to sit here too long before they start getting soggy. I'm not going to use a piping tip for this. I'm leaving it like pretty wide. Just spreading this out evenly. Rich, I don't put the pepper in the potatoes. I did put salt in though. Why do you need pepper in everything? Alright, so love this. I'm going to put it into the oven. It's on broil on low, so it's only going to take like 3 to 5 minutes. Alex, this would be a great recipe for your household right now, since I used Impossible, so it's gluten-free and vegan. What am I going to eat, Rich? It's in the oven. Alex not a vegan, he eats cheese. Oh, sorry, my bad. So the best part about this is the potatoes are going to get some browning. It's going to be really nice. Looking very good. About another minute. I want to see now. 1 minute. Be patient. Abundance. Thanks, Catherine. Wow, tablespoon. That was a long time ago. I loved writing for them, though. So this looks awesome. Let me get closer here. You want a Frito? What does that mean? We call Frito sometimes. This is going to be burning hot if I eat it. I'm just going to put that down for a sec. That's like a perfect example of a chip though. Because it has some corn, it has a wavy potato on it. It's a good one. Really happy with that. Potatoes are nice and fluffy on there. The reason I did a lot of sour cream in the potatoes is because I was thinking about how nachos have sour cream on them usually. So the potatoes in this instance, like that's how I came up with this idea. Potatoes are kind of like a version of the sour cream. And food on my beard stuff. And the meat, it's kind of like a twist on taco meat, doing it in shepherd's pie style. Love how these came out. And I'd like to go eat the whole tray of them. So thank you all for watching, and you can follow me on here. I'm going to do a live stream every Thursday on Twitch and YouTube, or you can keep following along during the rest of the week on Instagram, Facebook, or my website. And I'm going to put this recipe on my website every week, the week after I stream it. So thanks again for watching.